I am reminded of the deeply touching letters, cards, and messages which so many of you have sent my wife.
In a shocking announcement that has sent shockwaves through the royal family and the world, King Charles confirmed that Camilla's royal title would be temporarily stripped due to a devastating revelation. Just moments ago, the king appeared before the cameras, his voice trembling, as he made a historic declaration that would shake the monarchy to its core. The reason? A betrayal rooted in the royal jewels, and the consequences of this discovery would have far-reaching effects. 1 minute ago, the calm of Clarence House was shattered when King Charles addressed the world with a heavy heart. The decision, effective immediately, was a break from centuries of royal tradition. The Queen Consort, Camilla, would lose her title and status pending further investigation, a decision that left the royal household in turmoil. The gravity of the moment was felt not just by the public, but by the family itself. In a rare and unprecedented move, the king, his face etched with sorrow, signaled that even family loyalty must bow to the monarchy's unyielding commitment to integrity. The announcement, made in a grand room adorned with royal history, reverberated like a funeral bell for Camilla's reign. As the words echoed in the air, the reason for this drastic measure was equally shocking. A sapphire brooch, once belonging to Princess Diana, had surfaced at an auction in Geneva, and the investigation traced it back to a private sale linked to Camilla's own estate. This discovery triggered a crisis that no one in the royal family could have predicted. What began as a private issue quickly escalated into a public scandal, forcing Charles to act. The brooch, once a cherished piece of Princess Diana's personal collection, had been missing for years. Now, it had surfaced at a private auction, igniting a firestorm that no one could have anticipated. Experts confirmed that the brooch's engraving matched one that had long been believed to be lost to history, and its sale raised immediate concerns. Investigators soon linked the auction to Ray Mill House, Camilla's private estate, igniting suspicions of misappropriation. The royal family's trust, built over centuries, was now at stake. For days, palace aides scrambled to manage the fallout. Behind closed doors, the royal family was split on how to handle the crisis. Princess Anne, ever vigilant, demanded answers. She was the first to suggest a full audit of the royal jewelry registry, a move that would soon unravel the tightly held secrets of the royal vault. Meanwhile, Prince William, always the defender of family integrity, called for transparency. Catherine, with her quiet grace, urged her husband to act swiftly. The tension inside Clarence House was palpable, as William and Catherine prepared to confront Charles with what they believed was a necessary step for the monarchy's future. But even as they prepared for what was to come, the royal family was forced to reckon with the darker truths hidden within its walls. It was Princess Anne who took the lead when the royal crisis escalated. Known for her no-nonsense approach, Anne was determined to get to the bottom of the brooch scandal. Her insistence on auditing the royal jewelry registry was met with resistance from some quarters, but her persistence paid off. The audit revealed unsettling discrepancies, missing records, unapproved transfers, and discrepancies linked to Camilla's estate. These revelations were devastating, not just for the monarchy's reputation, but for Charles's personal life. For the first time, the royal family's carefully curated image was under threat, and Camilla's involvement in the scandal could no longer be denied. The investigation grew more intense, and the pressure mounted. As Anne continued to push for transparency, Prince William and Catherine quietly supported her, knowing that they had to act in the monarchy's best interest, regardless of the family dynamics. Their support was crucial, especially as the royal house of Windsor stood on the brink of a seismic shift. Meanwhile, the whispers outside the palace grew louder, and the tabloids began to circulate stories, adding fuel to the fire. It was clear that the royal family was facing a crisis of unprecedented proportions. When the royal family gathered to discuss the growing scandal, the tension was palpable. Charles, torn between his duty as king and his love for Camilla, found himself facing an impossible decision. The pressure to act swiftly weighed heavily on him, but it was clear that the monarchy's integrity had to come first. With the evidence mounting, including the damning connection between Camilla's estate and the sale of the brooch, the king had little choice but to take a stand. As he sat at the head of the table, the weight of centuries of royal tradition pressed on him. The monarchy was built on trust, on duty, and on the understanding that personal matters could not overshadow the public responsibility of the crown. The room was filled with silence as Charles signed the decree. It was a moment of sorrow, not just for the loss of Camilla's title, but for the betrayal that had rocked the monarchy to its core. Even as Charles made the painful decision, the royal family knew that this was just the beginning of a long and difficult road. The ramifications of this scandal would echo through the halls of Buckingham Palace and beyond, threatening to fracture the royal family in ways that could change the monarchy forever. As the king's hand trembled over the paper, one question loomed large. Would the crown survive this crisis? Princess Anne's relentless pursuit of the truth brought an unexpected shift in the royal crisis. Known for her directness and unwavering commitment to the integrity of the monarchy, Anne refused to let the scandal surrounding Camilla slide. When the first whispers of the missing brooch surfaced, she was quick to demand a private audit of the royal jewelry registry. This decision sent shockwaves through the royal household. Anne's suspicion wasn't unfounded. As the audit began, disturbing discrepancies emerged. Missing documentation, unrecorded transfers, and mysterious valuations linked directly to Camilla's estate revealed a web of connections that could not be ignored. Anne's sharp eye and diligence exposed the cracks in the royal facade, and soon the palace could no longer deny the severity of the situation. With the truth coming to light, the pressure mounted not just on Camilla, but on King Charles himself. Princess Anne's findings pushed the king into a corner. A family deeply divided between loyalty and responsibility now faced a monumental challenge. The public's faith in the monarchy hung in the balance. What began as a personal family issue had now become a matter of national interest. Behind closed doors, the family's unity was tested, with Anne, William, and Catherine urging swift and decisive action to preserve the crown's reputation. The clock was ticking, and there was no turning back. The royal family had to decide. Would they prioritize truth, or would they continue to shield Camilla at the cost of their legacy? As the royal crisis unfolded, William and Catherine were drawn into the heart of the storm. While the monarchy's future was on the line, they had their own battle to fight, balancing loyalty to family with their duty to the crown. Prince William, torn between the love for his family and his responsibility as a future monarch, found himself in a delicate position. He knew the stakes were high, but he also understood that the integrity of the monarchy could not be compromised. Catherine, ever poised and calm, stood by William's side. Her role was quiet yet crucial, crafting the language and tone of the royal family's response. Together, they worked behind the scenes to prepare a strategy that would protect the monarchy's future without losing sight of its legacy. Despite the turmoil, their unity became the royal family's strongest pillar. William's steady resolve was a reminder of the duty he had inherited, and Catherine's grace helped temper the increasingly volatile situation. As rumors and media scrutiny intensified, the couple remained focused on the bigger picture, prioritizing the monarchy's long-term survival over personal grievances. But even as they prepared for the inevitable fallout, William and Catherine's decisions were about to be put to the ultimate test. The royal family had reached a breaking point, and their choices would determine the future of the crown. The royal household was now bracing for the final confrontation, with Princess Anne's audit uncovering irrefutable evidence and the pressure mounting from all sides. The monarchy stood at a crossroads. King Charles, known for his measured demeanor, was visibly affected by the crisis. This wasn't just a personal betrayal by Camilla. It was a challenge to the very foundation of the royal family. His leadership was in question, and the eyes of the world were on him. The king had always believed that loyalty to the crown was paramount, yet he found himself in a heartbreaking situation where loyalty to his wife clashed with his duty as monarch. As the decision loomed, It was clear that the future of Camilla within the royal family would be decided not by love or forgiveness, but by the monarchy's need for purity and continuity. The crown, a symbol of both power and responsibility, could not afford the stain of scandal, regardless of who was involved. The situation became more than just about the brooch. It was about the royal family's ability to maintain its authority and integrity in the face of betrayal. Charles knew that every decision he made now would be scrutinized, but he had no choice but to prioritize the monarchy's future over personal emotions. The weight of centuries of royal tradition now lay on his shoulders, and in the final hours before the inevitable announcement, the king was forced to confront the truth. His duty to the crown must come first. With Camilla's future hanging in the balance, the royal family was faced with a crucial decision that would not only affect them personally, but also the monarchy's future. The scandal surrounding the brooch had uncovered far more than just a simple mistake. It had exposed a fracture within the royal family that would be impossible to repair without drastic action. As King Charles prepared to make his final decision, he found himself grappling with the question of loyalty to his wife versus loyalty to the crown. Despite his personal affection for Camilla, the monarchy's integrity could no longer be compromised. The royal family's reputation depended on it, and it became clear that the monarchy's legacy was at risk if action wasn't taken immediately. Charles's decision would set a new precedent for how the royal family handled scandals, forever altering the course of history. With the royal jewels now at the center of the controversy, the monarchy's most prized symbols, its history, tradition, and legitimacy, were under threat. The brooch wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It represented everything the monarchy had worked to protect for centuries. The realization of this truth was not lost on the royal family, and as the hours ticked away, it became evident that the monarchy would never be the same again. This crisis had torn the family apart, but the only way forward was to face the truth. Would King Charles have the strength to protect the crown at all costs, or would this scandal be the downfall of the monarchy as the world knew it? The media frenzy surrounding Camilla's scandal was like nothing the royal family had ever faced before. With each passing hour, the story gained momentum, flooding news outlets across the globe. From London to New York, headlines screamed with variations of royal scandal and monarchy in crisis. The press quickly seized on the details, speculating wildly about the implications of the sapphire brooch and Camilla's potential fall from grace. Each leak, each new report only fueled the fire. The royal family, always a symbol of stability and tradition, was now the subject of intense scrutiny. TV shows, tabloids, and social media platforms ran with the story, drawing parallels to past royal scandals and speculating on the future of the monarchy. But the real question on everyone's mind was simple. What would King Charles do next? The palace was flooded with inquiries, as reporters demanded answers that no one could give. Behind the royal gates, however, the family was grappling with a question of its own. How much longer could they keep the truth hidden? The public's reaction was just as divided as the royal family's. Some people rallied behind the king, understanding the weight of his duty to preserve the monarchy's integrity. Others felt sympathy for Camilla, believing that the scandal was a result of a deeper conspiracy. A few even compared the crisis to the infamous royal affairs of the past, suggesting that the monarchy had once again found itself embroiled in scandal. Whatever the public's opinion, one thing was clear: the monarchy's reputation was teetering on the edge, and the next step could either stabilize or collapse it entirely. As the royal family navigated through the storm, they knew they had to act fast. With the world watching, their next move would determine not only the future of Camilla, but the very future of the British monarchy itself. The moment of reckoning had arrived for the British royal family. Camilla's title was no longer hers to keep, and the truth was now public. The monarchy had faced down its darkest crisis in modern history. But the fallout from this scandal was far from over. For King Charles, the decision to strip Camilla of her royal duties was not an easy one, but it was the only choice that could preserve the legacy of the crown. The consequences, however, were profound, not just for Camilla, but for the monarchy as a whole. As the world waited for the king to deliver his final statement, the royal family stood in the shadow of this unprecedented moment. The trust that had taken generations to build was now at risk, and there was no going back. For the royal family, this scandal was a reminder of the delicate balance they must maintain between loyalty, duty, and tradition. The very fabric of the monarchy was being tested, and the world would soon see whether it could endure. King Charles's decision wasn't just about Camilla or the brooch. It was about the monarchy itself. The crown had always been a symbol of continuity and stability, but it could no longer afford to ignore the cracks in its foundation. In the coming days, the royal family would need to reconcile their public image with their private struggles, all while trying to maintain the monarchy's strength in the face of adversity. The monarchy's future depended on their ability to navigate this crisis with grace, wisdom, and unwavering resolve. As the king prepared to face the nation, his next words would carry the weight of an era. For the royal family, the battle was just beginning. What would this scandal mean for their future, and how would they rebuild the trust they had lost? The answer would unfold in the weeks to come, as the monarchy struggled to heal its deepest wound. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a turning point. What happens next will shape the future of the royal family, and perhaps the entire institution of the monarchy itself. Stay tuned as the story of love, betrayal, and the royal crown continues to unfold before our eyes.